the Start Your Own Business podcast. Hear inspiring startup stories and get reliable expert advice on how to start your business and get off to the best possible start. Brought to you by Startup Donut, helping small businesses succeed.
Hello, I'm Chloe Thomas, your host, and in this episode we'll be looking at self-confidence in business and how to boost yours. Our guest is self-confidence and human behaviour expert Jo Emerson, author of self-help book Flying for Beginners, a proven system for lasting self-confidence. Bath-based Jo is a former BBC journalist who frequently appears in the media, sharing her insight into self-confidence. She speaks at many conferences and events across the UK about how to live a successful, authentic, confident life, and coaches business leaders and others on how to build their own self-confidence. We will be telling you exactly how you too can build your self-confidence levels and how you can keep them there no matter what your startup throws at you. It's a simple process. All of us can do it, and we'll even be getting into a little bit of what imposter syndrome is and how you can master that as well. No, we really are. Before we meet our guest, do find out about the show sponsors, Dell Technologies, and how their technology solutions could help your business to become more productive, efficient, secure, and successful.
This series of the Start Your Own Business podcast is brought to you by Startup Donut, in association with Dell Technologies.
Did you know you can get even more out of Startup Donut with new exclusive benefits from Dell Technologies? Dell for Startups provides key solutions to help set up your startup for success, including exclusive member pricing and a dedicated technology advisor who will get to know the needs and goals of your business. Advisors will deliver customised, scalable solutions for rapid tech enablement with top business class PCs and accessories. Join now for valuable resources that will help your business get growing. Visit dell.com/UK startups to join today. It's time to meet our startup expert, Jo Emerson. Hello, Jo.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. It is great to be recording with you on such an important, but I suspect overlooked topic in the world of startups. So let's start off with the big one. What is self-confidence?
Well, I think self-confidence is probably different for everybody, but general themes would be around owning your space in this world. It's about self-belief. I think self-confidence is about an ability to kind of go with the flow of life. So to overcome, to be loose in our expectations of life delivering exactly what we want. You know, a lot of people lose their self-confidence when things don't go their way, or they think that's why they've lost their confidence because things haven't gone their way. But I would argue that self-confident people are kind of working with the world rather than against the world. And I was thinking about this question before we came on, and I was thinking, how do I know if I'm with a confident person? And I think confident people are always pleased for other people's success. I think that's like a really key part of being confident. I think confident people don't have to be right all of the time. Like, we can make mistakes and that's okay. And I think a massive part of confidence is just the ability to have a go, do your best and see what comes. And a lot of people without confidence won't even have the go. And then they're stuck in this lack of confidence. So, I think confidence is, it's about self-belief, having a go and kind of knowing that somehow or other you'll find a way through.
I love that explanation. Thank you, Jo. And what strikes me as you were saying all of that, is that there are people, we often get asked the question, are you a self-confident person? And it's a bit too one-dimensional a question because your own personal levels of self-confidence seem to change minute to minute sometimes, and they very much change between different people as well. So are we in charge of our levels of self-confidence? Can we change them? Can we improve them if we're feeling low or if we've always got low self-confidence?
I 100% know that we can all change our levels of self-confidence, but we have to have a will to do it. You have to be willing to do the hard work of change. And you have to believe what someone like me is saying, which is, yes, you can. I've gone from being someone who probably presented as being confident but really wasn't, to someone who is genuinely self-confident most of the time. That doesn't mean I don't have my off days. We all have off days. So yes, I've been a confidence coach for over 10 years. I've seen people become self-confident over and over and over again, but it's not what they think it's going to be. It's not about, making £1 million or getting down to a size 10 or paying off the mortgage or meeting your soulmate. All of those things are lovely. They're great. But confidence is about going in and doing some work of self-acceptance. And that can be a bit icky at times. But if you're willing to do the hard work of change, yeah, absolutely, you can become confident. It starts with the decision.
Cool. We are going to get into that more. Everyone who's going, I need the answers. But first off, let's just remember we're talking about small businesses and startups. So, Jo, low self-confidence in a founder can be crippling to a business, and it can be quite hard to keep self-confidence levels up when you are exhausted running a startup as well, can't it?
It really can. And I think, it's the most exciting time, I think, being involved in a startup or starting a business, being involved in a small business. It's so exciting because you've kind of got a finger in every pie and you're learning new stuff every single day. And I do think like growth, mind growth, expansion of the soul. I mean, that's really great for our self-confidence, but you're going to hit a lot of roadblocks when you're running a startup, and how we handle those roadblocks make the difference between a successful business and an unsuccessful business. And I think the most confident people, or the people who are most successful and retain their confidence when they are running a startup, running a small business, understand that they're going to fail and that failure is part of the journey. And I think if you have an expectation that you're never going to fail and then you hit a roadblock, you can damage your confidence. If you think, oh yeah, here I am, I'm having a failure, this is part of it, then you think, oh, yeah, fair enough. Like, I've just got over my first failure. And I think it's really important as well as, in any walk of life, but especially if you're in charge of a startup or you're senior within a startup, to have some support, to invest, even if you can only afford to see a coach once every 3 months, if that's all your budget allows. Speak to someone who is going to be your cheerleader, who is going to pick you up and remind you of why it is you're doing what you're doing. Because it can be very easy to get kind of bogged down in the weeds. But when we get back to our vision, oh yeah, I'm doing this because, I've got this great idea and it's going to help all these people, we can often reignite, that confidence that's just got a little bit muddy for a while.
So it's definitely something we need to work on as we go through our small business. And then some people can sometimes be too overconfident. You're smiling at me. I could see Jo as we're recording here, and she's grinning at me. That can be quite off-putting when someone's kind of reaching, I guess, the arrogance levels. So should we be careful of becoming a bit too overconfident as well?
Well, I don't think that confidence and arrogance are the same thing at all. I actually think that low self-esteem and arrogance are the same feeling presenting in a different way. Think of a pendulum swing, and I'm now swinging my arm from left to right, even though no one can see me apart from you. On the one side of the pendulum swing, you've got low self-esteem. And those people are saying, I wish people liked me. I wish I felt good enough. And that can manifest in victim mentality and neediness or sulking or isolation. And then on the other side of the pendulum swing, you've got people who also want everyone to like them, but they're telling everyone how brilliant they are. And they've got their elbows out and they're grasping and grabbing and fighting and kind of, being a bit cocky. But those two people are plugged into fear, and it's a fear of what will people think. Now, when we come into the middle, the beautiful balanced middle, where you find a genuinely confident person, that person does not need the approval of other people in order to feel okay about themselves. And that's the difference between confidence and arrogance and confidence and low self-esteem. Is actually it's a self-fulfilling state rather than I need everybody else to tell me I'm brilliant all of the time. And by the way, that doesn't mean that if you're confident, you don't enjoy getting compliments and you don't need supporters, but you've got a deep sense in yourself that you're all right. You don't need the world to tell you you're all right all of the time. Whereas your arrogant people and your low self-esteem people are constantly seeking validation. That's why I think it's the same emotion, just flipped off in different directions.
And I said we'd get back to the how to be more confident, because I think that's probably why you're all tuning in. So if someone is feeling confident right now, but they can see a rocky road ahead, what can they do to keep their confidence levels up and help themselves and their business?
So there's loads of things to do. The first thing I would say is you have got to look after your body. You've got to look after your exercise. You've got to feed yourself well, sleep, get enough sleep. It's absolutely crucial for anybody under any sort of pressure to make sure that the basics are in place. So we all know that eating loads of plants is really damn good for us, right? So eat loads of plants. Get your 8 hours sleep a night, or seven as a minimum. And if you can't sleep, at least be resting. Take exercise every day. Like, they are fundamental to confidence. If the body isn't right, the brain being connected to the body, the mind, the soul being connected to the body, are going to suffer. Oh, and make sure you stay hydrated as well. Those are like really, really big fundamental things. I would then suggest that in order to maintain confidence, that people, when you're certainly in these the early days of a startup, when you feel like you're time poor, get up half an hour early every single day and do a little bit of work on your mind. By which I mean, get a pen and paper, a journal, and write down all those things you're worried about, all those roadblocks that are coming your way, everything that negative part of your brain, because we've all got one, is telling you is going to happen. All those catastrophizing thoughts, all those doom-laden things, all those worries, write them all down. Get them out. And then after about 15 minutes, stop what you're doing and then find that wiser, kinder, more rational voice you've got in your mind that, again, we've all got. When you speak to a young child, for example, who's panicking, you're going to use a different part of your brain. You're going to be calm and rational, and it's going to be all right. Go through everything you've written from your fearful voice, from that negative voice, and ask your wiser self, what do you think about this thing? Like, what if this worked out well? What would happen? What would my best self do? If I felt really confident, how would I approach today? And the other thing I would do at the end of that time is write down the 5 or 10 most important things you want to achieve that day and get them done. And then at the end of the day, you look through your list and you tick off. And, it's a good idea to go through all those things that you were worrying about and go, oh, look, that didn't happen. Oh, yeah, no, so-and-so actually reacted quite well to that thing I had to tell them. Oh, that didn't go to plan, but it's all right because I've got a solution. Because what you do is you start to catch that critical voice, which, by the way, is a liar, always will be a liar, never believe what it says. That's my fundamental message for everybody, is your critical voice lies. It's plugged into fear. Its job is to keep you alive. So unless you're in physical danger, ignore what it's saying. And when we start writing it down, A, it gets the attention it's wanting, but B, we can then start to see, oh, hold on a minute, I'm just believing a load of lies. And that little bit of time, that half an hour at the beginning of the day, is such a gift to yourself, because you're kind of setting your intentions for the day, getting rid of all the negativity, plugging into something positive, and then kind of taking charge of your day. And, the most confident people I know do that on a regular basis. I do that on a regular basis, and I keep doing it because it works.
It's look after our body, look after our mind. And the methods you've just given us for doing that, it really doesn't take much time. So you can definitely fit it into your startup journey, can't you?
Yeah, you've only got 10 minutes in the morning. Use those 10 minutes. Half an hour's better if you can. But it's about bringing awareness to the tricks your mind is playing on you and outwitting your brain. You'll never get rid of that critical voice. We've all got it. And it is there for our survival. But, it speaks out of turn. It really should not be allowed a voice, like I say, unless, you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger 4,000 years ago. It's not the prime minister. It's a junior minister, if anything. So that thing we do in the morning is we pull our wiser, more rational self into prime ministerial position over that day. And and I'm talking about a decent prime minister, by the way, one who we all trust, and maybe that was a bad analogy. Anyway, you're making a decision as to which part of your brain is going to run the day, and it's really powerful.
And you mentioned earlier about making sure you've got someone on your team who is there to remind you what you're doing well and to bring you back up, even if it's only your coach once every 3 months. Is it also true to say we should try to get away from the people who constantly bring us down, if that's not too harsh a way to phrase it?
Oh, no, I totally agree. I mean, sometimes we live with those people, right? So that can be difficult. And I think this is a boundary conversation. I mean, yes, if you've got toxic people in your life who you see on an ad hoc basis, I probably wouldn't be meeting them for coffee in the first 1 or 2 years of starting a business, because you don't need that negativity. You just really don't. So you can just use the fact that you're mega busy with your startup as an excuse. Yeah, you don't owe those people time. You genuinely don't. If, however, it's, closer family members, then you're going to have a conversation about boundaries. You're going to have to say, I can't discuss my business with you unless I've got your support. So is my startup going to be a no-go area for us? Or can you get behind me with some positivity? I know you're worried about my finances. I know you'd rather I was doing a stable 9-to-5 job with the big pension and everything, but this is who I am and I have to do this. So are you in, or shall we just not talk about it? Would be my advice. That's not an easy conversation to have, but that would be my advice. If you've got people working for you who are negative and doing that toxic drain thing, sorry to say this, but I would get rid of them as soon as you can. Sorry, that's not a very popular thing to say, but your business, you don't need that in any stage of business, but certainly not at the beginning.
No, certainly not at the beginning. And something else, and maybe I'm getting this one all wrong, like I was getting wrong about arrogance earlier. But often, in my mind, low self-confidence is quite connected with what that common business phrase, imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. So is it the same strategies we've run through that you'd use to beat imposter syndrome? And could you just explain imposter syndrome for anyone who's going, what's that? Have I got it?
So you're not wrong at all. And you weren't wrong before. That's a very standard view of arrogance and confidence, right? It's just that I have my own theory. Imposter syndrome is essentially the feeling that everyone's going to find out about you at some point, that actually you are not worth what you're being paid, you can't do your job properly, that everyone else has got their stuff together and you're the only one failing. It's a sense of, I shouldn't really be here, but they don't. If they knew how awful I was, they wouldn't have given me this job, or they wouldn't have given me this investment, or, they wouldn't have me on the board, or whatever. And, the thing with imposters, it is very similar. It's a very similar piece of work. It is about catching that imposter. But it is essentially, again, bringing light to that imposter, shining the spotlight on it and sort of questioning what it's saying. Because the first thing we do to treat any imposter is to tell anybody that every single person has imposter syndrome. We all think everyone else knows what they're doing and we're all winging it. The imposter is connected to that critical voice. It's lies. It's saying, everybody else knows what they're doing. You're the only one who's rubbish. You're the only one who's worried about this. They will all hate you if you get it wrong. Mistakes are terrible. We must wear this mask of pretending that we've got it all together all of the time. That's imposter syndrome. And, the way to beat imposter syndrome is A, to know that everyone's got it, but B, to beat it at its own game. So make your mistake and own it. Say to people, I don't feel like I quite know what I'm doing here. Could you help me? Talk to your business partners and say, I think we've got a gap in our knowledge here. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. Or buy a book, buy a self-help book and read it with pride on the tube. Look at me, I'm reading a self-help book because I don't know what to do. If we out the imposter, if we drop the mask and say, actually, I've got a great idea, I've got a great work ethic, I've got my investment, but there's these bits that I'm really worrying about. Who can help me? You will be surprised how many people line up who want to help, because that's actually a very confident thing to do, to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Please help. because you're being vulnerable in that moment. You're creating genuine connection, and you've got the confidence to drop your mask and say, I don't know it all. I don't know it all. Please help. And, there are so many people who've been really confident, really successful, in business, who are, sat now there with, their tens of millions that they've made, and they want to help. They want to help you plug your gaps. So use them. Absolutely use them. So yeah, the imposter, expect to have an imposter, expect your imposter to speak. Do not believe what it says. Challenge it and really do the opposite of everything it's telling you to do, and you'll be sweet.
Jo, we've covered a lot of excellent ground in this episode. So is there a key thing you want the listeners to take away from this podcast episode?
Well, I think I've already said it, which is that business about. There's two things, actually. The first thing I'll say is that negative part of your brain is lying to you. Please stop investing in what it says. When we invest in fear, we shrink. When we invest in faith in ourselves, trust, courage, curiosity, we grow. And, small businesses it's all about innovation and growth, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to innovate. We're here to grow. It's such an exciting journey. What have you got to lose? Do you know what I mean? Just go, so ignore the fear. I mean, have a plan and all the rest of it as well, but don't listen to what that fear is telling you, because it's a liar. The other thing I'd like to say to people, to you with your startups, your small businesses, is, the confidence comes in the action. Please don't expect to feel 100% confident now. Don't wait until you feel confident to start your business. Understand that equation is the wrong way round. We gain confidence by taking action. And every single time we face into something that scares us a bit, that we think, I don't know what I'm doing, like me with tech, I blimmin' hate it. I absolutely hate it. And yet it turns out I can actually use it. But every time I get a link that I don't understand, I go, I have to calm myself down, click the link. Oh, look at that. It worked. Jo Emerson, you do know what you're doing. We've all got these silly brains. And I have to tell you that, the more action you take, I'm talking little steps every single day, the more confident you will become. Because it is about that cumulative, I've done this, I've done that, I made that mistake, I learned this, I asked for that help, off I go. I've got my first product in the shops, all of that. Just amazing. But don't expect to feel confident from just sitting there. You will gain your confidence through taking the action.
Excellent. Thank you, Jo. Now, before we say goodbye, could you please let the listeners know how they can find you and your business on the web?
Yep. So I'm www, we all know that, .jo-emerson. Jo is J-O, Emerson is E-M-E-R-S-O-N. So jo-emerson.com. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and, all of those other things.
Excellent. Well, Jo, thank you so much. Thank you for being a great guest.
Lovely to be here.
I'm almost feeling more self-confident just from chatting to Jo there. So I hope you're feeling inspired by all her tips and points of view on confidence, because I think it is one of those things which in a small business, it can really derail you. I've had in my own business those times when my confidence has just been at a terrible ebb, and it's not good for me, and it's never been good for the business or for my teams. So do find the time to do those things that Jo was suggesting, which is to look after your body. Eat well, sleep well, exercise, drink plenty of fluids. Simple stuff, but very easy to let slip when your startup is screaming at you for attention. And work on your mind. That process she was talking about, super easy to do. Anyone can do it, doesn't take a lot of time. Find a way to fit it into your morning routine. And then I guess her overall point that I've written down and I'm going to think about a bit more is investing in faith, not in fear. Now, we did cover a lot in this podcast episode, so to help you, you can find the summary notes and links to more free resources by visiting startupdonut.co.uk/podcast, and that's donut spelt D-O-N-U-T. This whole series exists to help you complete key tasks and negotiate challenges when setting up and growing your new business. So next up, we'll be speaking to the co-founder of an actual startup. Matt Mahatme from mixer brand Elixir Drinks will be joining me to share all about how they've built their successful business, including coming up with the idea, the pre-launch preparation, branding, routes to market, and lots of insightful business advice that you're going to find useful whether you're building a drinks brand or any other business. If you're enjoying the series and picking up valuable tips, then please do spread the word to others you know who are setting up a business or thinking about it. And be sure to sign up to the Donut Weekly newsletter for free startup news, advice and special offers to help your new business succeed. You will find that sign up at www.startupdonut.co.uk/newsletters. Thanks to Dell Technologies for making this whole series possible, and don't forget to join the Dell for Startups programme for more exclusive benefits and valuable resources. Details coming up.
Did you know you can get even more out of Startup Donut with new exclusive benefits from Dell Technologies? Dell for Startups provides key solutions to help set up your startup for success, including exclusive member pricing and a dedicated technology advisor who will get to know the needs and goals of your business. Advisors will deliver customized, scalable solutions for rapid tech enablement with top business class PCs and accessories. Join now for valuable resources that will help your business get growing. Visit dell.com/UK startups to join today.